Google has AI mode, which is essentially kind of a extension of AI, of its AI overviews that you see at the top of your Blue Links page, but it's a separate page. And they've been kind of testing this, and you can get to it through labs. And, you know, if you're on a wait list, you might have had access to it. Now that wait list has opened. So anyone.
Not for me.
Not
Sorry,
for you
I have
because.
because I use whatchamacallit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you have like a personal account that you can use in that case?
Yeah, but then it doesn't relate to anything in the rest that I have.
Yeah.
So-
Then it doesn't tie into stuff. Yeah. Like I've got a personal and I've got a business, and depending on what I'm doing, you know.
I just had to get that complaint in. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, I hear you. It's
Google.
a complaint that. Have you had this complaint for what, 10 years now?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it is kind of crazy that like.
The one thing I pay Google for, I get restricted in what I can do with it.
It's weird. That is a really weird reality. Yes, I totally support that. So essentially, this is now open for most people except for Jeff, and you can, you know, it is. And let me just pull it up so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. As it stands right now, AI mode is a separate destination. Like I could go to the All tab. And apologies to audio listeners who might lose some of the context, although all is not looking very normal. This is interesting. I thought going to all would take me to my normal Blue Links search bar. Oh, maybe this is just what it puts because I don't have a search. So if I did a search for Jeff Jarvis, it would just show me the normal kind of bloated Google search results that we get now. If we go to AI mode, it will put Jeff Jarvis in there. It will, you know, think about the query, look for results. Doesn't give me a whole. Oh, okay, good. It stopped at the single sentence of description. So it gives me kind of probably a lot of the similar kind of results that we saw on the other page, but it does a little bit of the LLM quality kind of summarization / organization. Some of the stuff that you might see in AI overviews. Definitely extended and expanded upon, though, so you're not going to get that small little block up at the top. You get a little bit more of an organizational quality. Now they've added features like visual cards for local places, products that show details like ratings, reviews, real-time prices, some of those things that we've gotten used to over time seeing in Google search. And then I guess past searches, you can get to those. You can... you still, if you want to test this out, you still have to go into labs, and I think it's labs.google.com, and you have to kind of opt into it. And then you will get this on your search page. You'll get this little mode that says AI mode. So, you know, some people are saying this is the wave of the future. Google search is going to be AI mode in the future. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know that that's necessarily the direction. Maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just not certain on that. But for right now, it is separate. And so you literally have to go in there and play around with it. And the confusion that I have in this, well, let me test a few things. So if we've got local results, let me bring in a prompt and say, ask AI mode. I'm going to say birthday brunch spots in Petaluma, although maybe I could just say near me and it would know, but I'm just going to get specific in Petaluma that are known for mimosas. And so it's going to look it up in search. It's going to make a search plan, sift through the results. Obviously, there is a restaurant in town called Cafe Mimosa, so that's going to be an obvious choice. Cafe Bellini, Sax's Joint offer, you know, and then it gives your ratings. You've got some of your ratings on these, 4.4 stars on Google, bunch of reviews. I can't click on that. I can on the Sax's Joint. Anyway, so it's collecting some of these search results. In some ways, it's pretending or purporting, whatever the word is, to do some of the stuff that Perplexity is doing. Use this as a search engine, but a search engine on steroids. And okay, so that's great. If I test like a product search result, so let's pop this in here. Find me folding camping chairs that fit into a backpack for under $100. I found this prompt online. I did not come up with this on my own. Finding foldable camping chairs, compact, under $100. And it gives me a little bit of a list. On the side, it gives me a list of results, I guess, that I could click into. And I think where my confusion comes in is, okay, so this is an interesting way to tackle search, I suppose. If I'm using this as my search engine, I've come back with the information that's organized differently. The problem is what I want to do then is I want to go in here and start issuing like generative commands like, okay, now turn this into a doc that blah, 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 because that's what I do with all the other things, right? Like I'm not constricted into just a search product. And this kind of does some of the things that Gemini does, but some things that Gemini doesn't do. And I think as a user, as I've been using it, I run into situations where I'm like, oh, it doesn't do that. Why doesn't it do that? I want it to do that. Oh, it's a different product. So now there's the cognitive load as a user of I need to remember that this only does these things, but this other AI that's very similar to this, but not quite the same as this, does more. And that can just be a little confusing to know which one I use for what purpose, you know? I don't know.
So I went into my other, I reluctantly, under protest, went into my free Google account.
Okay.
And
thank you. For the purposes of the show thanks.
For the good of the show, yes.
For the good of the show.
So, people have been arguing that AI was going to ruin search, and I've been arguing that no, that's not the case. Google's ruining search. It's just so weird that they're screwing it up themselves. So I asked 3 different kinds of questions. I asked, explain the history of mass media. Okay. And it gives me a pretty straightforward and bland thing. The next question I ask is pizza near me. Because if this is supposed to be search, it should operate with the utility and value of good old search. Okay. And so what it does is, as you showed, it does paragraphs listing the places with no links. The links are to the side. To the side, it says here are 8 sites. Okay, so I can go over there.
Right?
They're disconnected. I can show that. You got
to kind of like do some work to like connect the dots between the two.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not in the same order. So I can't say, well, the third one in the paragraphs should be the third one in links. Nope.
Right.
It's out of order. Totally. It ruins it. So then the next thing I did was ask for, because I just got, Jason advised me, I got the cheapest possible Samsung S10.
Which is not cheap.
Not cheap, no, but it's cheaper than the most expensive. It's less than half the price of the most expensive S10.
Yeah.
So I can annotate PDFs because I was doing all kinds of research about the Remarkable and the books and the.
I hope it works for you.
It did, though my family was rolling their eyes at me because I was cursing the first 3 hours using it. I couldn't forget. How do you mark and scroll at the same time? And I didn't know you got to do 2 fingers to do the scroll so you don't leave your mark when you're doing the thing. And my wife says, well, isn't there a manual? I said, no. All you can do is go to YouTube, and people are going to spend 15 minutes telling you one simple thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I asked it, what's the best tablet to use to annotate PDFs in sync with my Google Drive? All right, so in this case, it gives me 3 paragraphs, and then it gives me links that are not necessarily directly related to those. So if I wanted to just look up the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9, I hope that wasn't a lot cheaper. There isn't a link to that.
Window. It's cool.
There isn't a link to that, right? There's links to other things that are part of their research shtick. Here's a story about these things, right? Then the other problem is, to your point, Jason, about things you could expect to do elsewhere. I wanted to ask a follow-up question and say, which of those comes with a stylus? No. That becomes an entirely new search.
Oh, right. Okay. So which comes with a stylus?
But yours it did.
Talking about. Well, focusing on tablets that come with a stylus included, here's a break. So I don't know. I mean, it knew that I was talking about tablets that come with a stylus. What I don't know is if it understood my question, which comes with a stylus, to mean which of those that you listed comes with a stylus.
Well, the bottom of my query, the answer says, your next question will start a new search. Well, why? So it's labs.
There's a limit to the amount of follow-ups before, or I don't know. That's a good question. Before you, okay, because I'm not getting that warning.
Maybe it's just me.
Which of these is the best? That way, I'm like referring.
Yeah, okay,
to
it's doing that for you. It wouldn't for me.
Well, let's see here. I mean, maybe.
And it's doing that fakey reasoning thing. Well, I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Give me credit for all this work I'm doing on your behalf.
The best tablet.
Give me a treat. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Which of these is the best? Okay, so it gave me. Okay, I mean, I don't know if I'd have to go back and refer to know.
Right, but if you want, then what are the related links on the side? Are they? Does it?
Top 50 products of the year. What is the best Samsung tablet for work? Best back to uni technology with Samsung 2023.
So
What is the best tablet?
It's abstracting, it's disambiguating, it's intermediating all of that content to create its own thing, which is going to drive media companies absolutely berserko. But it also, so that kind of hurts them. All right, we'll have that argument in the future. But it also hurts me as a user. If you want to just link right now to the book's Note Air, there's no link to say, okay, I want to know more, or is there at the bottom of that thing? Is that a link?
So
what does
this
that go
is
to?
a link. I don't know if it's the link.
Let's see what it goes to.
This refreshes the area on the side. And so it gives me Scott Hanselman's e-notes or e-paper article from 2021. It gives me a Guardian article, 8 best. So it does not link me to the product. It just kind of takes me to more.
Nor does it link you to a story that's just about that product.
No.
It links you to one of the stories that it used to disambiguate, to
exactly. It links to a couple of stories that probably mentioned it in some way, shape, or form that it pulled that information from.
So
but
my process of research,
like, you're looking for a product, so maybe I should have like a link to the product here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't know my user needs.
And so then now what you got to do is you got to go over to your all and remember to do a search for the Onyx books, whatever it's called. See, I can't even remember what it's called. I got to go back to AI mode, go into my previous history, and, it's a whole web, I guess. So
I'm confused too.
It's a little confusing. It is also, Google would probably be fast to say, yeah, it's labs, it's beta, it's trial. Do you think that this is a product that could or will replace search the way we're used to?
No, I think that's the point of what we just did. I think no, it's going to be people say, give me search back.
Yeah, because this feels broken. Whether it's an illusion or not, when I open a Google search tab, I'm pretty confident I'm going to find the thing I'm looking for within the first page or two. Here, I have to do a lot more cognitive work to understand if I'm finding the thing that I actually wanted at the end.
Yeah, as we discussed last week, who's training whom? Is the machine training us, or are we training the machine? When it came to queries and the end of the job of not what's the word I'm looking for? Not a prompt engineer.
Prompt. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right. So we talked about that last week. But in this case, we have an entire generation. We have everyone of all generations, but we have 20 plus years of people being trained of what search is.
True.
And Google is search, right? They still own that as part of our heads and how we think about the world. And they're so scared about others ruining it, they're going to go ruin it themselves. It's mind-boggling to me.
They feel they need to be with the AI, blah, 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 the way everyone else is, or else they'll be left behind. I mean, it was Jan LeCun. It was Jan LeCun's interview where he said Google is kind of running scared right now, in a sense, because they see the oncoming AI wave as being a threat to some of these pieces of its business that have operated a certain way. And so they're rushing and making mistakes along the way because they want to be sure that they aren't left behind in the process and somebody else does it, comes out with the AI search that puts them out of business or puts their product on a lower rung on the ladder.
Right.